Hello everybody, I am back with a new chaotic lore video. This one took a minute to get all together. That's why I've been a little bit lacking with frequent videos. I've been trying to get this out on a timely manner, but this is one is going to be pretty big. Phrasing. So today's video, I'll be covering the history of the Underworlders. Something I've been looking forward to do since last year when I finished my history of the Overworlders, which you can check out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkingofcarl. Links are in the description below. The Underworld tribe can be considered the second most dangerous tribe behind the Overworld. They're a more militarized society, and out of the tribes in Pyram, the more technologically advanced. Underworlders believe in the philosophy of might makes right, and only the strongest survives. That's why when you play an Underworld deck, you'll usually see the option to sacrifice another card to make the current one stronger. A lot of Underworlders bear resemblances to demonic supernatural creatures. In fact, the territory the Underworlders occupy does look like hell. The philosophy was born from the harsh life of living underground. They may be blunt, but the creatures for the most part aren't stupid. Underworlders discovered a long time ago in order to compete with their enemies with superior music capabilities. They crafted robust weapons. Underworlders' somewhat savage demeanor comes from the fact that living underground where quakes and cave-ins are frequent, and not knowing if today is your last, explains their outlook on life. The only thing keeping the Underworld from completely collapsing are the various infrastructures called pillars scattered across the Underworld. They're called Castle Pillar, Mount Pillar, Iron Pillar, Jade Pillar, Wooden Pillar, Stone Pillar, Ice Pillar, Steam Pillar, and Jagged Pillar. For now, unlike the others, Ice, Steam, and Jagged don't have cards of their own, so it's unclear what their location effect is. Leave a comment and let me know what effect you'd give them. Underworlders' greatest strength relies on fire and earth attacks. They're very direct and tend to go on the offensive and overpower the opponent. It's one of the reasons why the tribe typically has high power and courage, but low wisdom. In fact, the low wisdom and the tribe's recklessness are their major weaknesses. They have some musics with music counters, but not many. A long time ago in ancient Pyram, the Underworld was ruled by the ruthless tyrant named Kal. But territory didn't stop at the Underworld. Around this time, Kal's influence spread throughout much of the Overworld as well. Many feared Kal's power. Of course, this was before many knew about the Marillions, and before many knew about the Danians were starting their hive underneath what would be the Mepedian territory. The ancient Overworlders were nomadic at this time, just wanting to be left in peace. However, that wouldn't be possible as long as Kaul was around. Kaul often sent some underworld raiders to overworld villages to kidnap overworlders and enslave them. They worked for hours mining for Valeric shards. The overworld leader Kiru got the aid of the underworlder Voryx. Voryx lives near the entrance to the underworld, and unlike most other underworlders, he doesn't share the loyalty to Kaul as they do. Knowing this, Kiru made a deal with Voryx. In exchange for a tribute, he ensures he'll keep as much of his fellow underworlders within their home turf as possible, although some still manage to slip through. Unfortunately, this wasn't good enough for his people, so Kiru decided to go to the source and make a deal with Kaul. In an attempt to negotiate the release of his people, it was interrupted by the local thief Vlar. Since he was an overworlder, Kaul blames Kiru and altered the deal. If Kiru wants his people, Kiru would have to retrieve the Oriclon, but the relic was in Gigantopolis, which not only is laced with deadly traps, but also is home to the giants. With no leverage, Kiru agreed to the terms. Furious, Kiru forced Vlar to help them retrieve the Oriclon. Since he is a well-traveled thief, he knows how to navigate through the location. Along the way, Kiru would risk his life to save Vlar. The selfless act would spark something in Vlar that would shape him, the overworld tribe, and pair him forever. After getting the Oriclon, Vlar risked his own life to help Kiru and his friends escape Gigantopolis. With the task complete, Kiru held up his end of the bargain. However, Kaul would double-cross Kiru and not hold up his promise. Frustrated at the betrayal and the brutality against his people, Kiru decided enough is enough and faced Kaul in a one-on-one fight for the fate of the overworld, while his allies freed the enslaved overworlders. Kiru's courageous act inspired Vlar, who would later lead the overworlders, and so would his heirs all the way down to Maxor. It's unclear how the battle went exactly between Kaul and Kiru. Since Kaul was never seen or heard from again, it's obvious that Kiru won. From here, the details get fuzzy, leading to present day. So we can extrapolate from clues that was spoon-fed throughout the series. After Kiru defeated Kaul in battle, he didn't have the means to kill the creature, so the next best thing was to imprison Kaul. Likely, the prison is deep underneath Castle Pillar. In one of the variant cards, the flavor text states there's something underneath Castle Pillar and only Kaor knows. Once Kaul was locked away, Kiru might have wanted to go back home, but realized the power vacuum left by Kaul. The Underworlders respect the might makes right mentality, and right now, he's the strongest. If he left, it'll leave room for someone worse to fill Kaul's shoes, and likely want revenge. Kiru wouldn't want his people to suffer the consequences, so he let them think he perished. Kiru took the throne. Under his rule, he by and large kept the Underworlders in check and away from the Overworlders. His efforts would be in vain, however. Because of Kaul's misdeeds, it would cause a ripple effect that generated the bitter rivalry between the Overworld and Underworld. Eventually, Kira would take a bride and proceed to have children that would take over after he was gone. But he'd make sure he left explicit instructions to his lineage. Kira would only trust the knowledge about the creature underneath Castle Pillar to them. Kira wouldn't allow anybody else to be tempted in releasing Call and threatening the balance of Param. In honor and respect, they all kept the secret. Many years later, Kaor would take up the throne. Ruling through his wisdom, cunning, and intimidation, Kaor has grand ambitions to conquer all of Param, starting with Kiru's city and overthrowing Maxor. Kaor's HQ is Underworld City, where he reigns supreme. But Kaor knew he'd need trusted allies to make his dreams a reality and maintain the underworld. Kaor would recruit Takinam, Agatos, Lord von Blut, and Stricto. Unfortunately, things didn't work out with the latter two. Stricto would eventually be imprisoned in the pits for an unknown crime, likely for not listening to Kaor's commands and being ruled by his bestial nature. Lord von Blut cut ties for a different reason. He grew tired of serving Kaor and saw himself as the underworld's true ruler. So he assembled some followers who shared in their hatred of Kaor and set up shop at Gothos Tower. There, Blut plans his coup d'etat with his minions. But Kaor was unbothered. To him, Blut was a spineless creature that he can crush easily. Kaor was fine with Takinam and Agatos. Every day there's always fighting, petty squabbles, etc. Kaor quickly realizes despite the harsh living in the underworld, there needed some level of order. Kaor commissioned the construction of the Underworld Coliseum. Here, disputes can be settled 1v1 combat. Whoever knocks out the other, that person won the argument. If things really get out of hand, or if criminals too dangerous to be controlled are thrown in the pits. An underworld prison for the truly dangerous Underworlders. The Underworlders would then try to tip the balance in their favor by searching for the Kothica, all the while trying to establish footholds in other territories. Everything changed when the lost tribe, the Marillions, were discovered. Mind controlling most of Param, most of the Underworlders, including Kaor, teamed up with other tribes to finally put a stop to their plans. Because war makes strange bedfellows, some Underworlders established good relationships with Overworlders, but some still harbor dangerous aspirations, like Sluffera, who would betray Tarful to acquire the secrets of Kensep, but fail. More recently, when Kaisef was reforged, every tribe went to their tribe's respective gate to find secrets hidden within. The Underworlders went through the Phlegiston, where all creatures gain fire attacks. Unbeknownst to them, they were being followed by a band of Merpedians. The Underworlders have 9 classes within their tribe that's tailor-made for their skill set. Conquerors, Commanders, Warriors, Muges, Elementalists, Ethereals, Taskmasters, Scouts, and the Past. Conquerors. Conquerors are a class of Underworlders who the name describes subdues or subjugates a group of people and or place, like Genghis Khan and other leaders. Kaor, a descendant to the Overworld tribe's founder, Kiru. Name is derived from the word chaos. Kayor's image is similar to a stereotypical view of Lucifer Morningstar. Matter of fact, Kayor looks like Tim Curry's character from the 80s movie Legend. Kayor is fierce and quick to anger, but he's brave, clever, and cunning. Kayor believes in the philosophy of ends justifying the means when fulfilling a mission. He'll even put himself in danger. That's what makes him a devastating leader. Lord von Blut. Blut was a former underling of Kayor. However, he refused to take orders from someone else. Unlike Kayor, Blut wouldn't lay down his life for the betterment of the tribe. Blut is a bully and a coward that wants power for his own sake. Blut resembles a gothic gargoyle from Europe. Navenna. Sister to the overworlder Avenna, Navenna was raised in the underworld by Takinam. She's a humanoid creature with long red hair, blue-gray skin, and wears a black cloak. Navenna resembles dark elves in pop culture. Omar. Omar is Kayor's lead scientist. He's responsible for the majority of the Underworlders' battle gear, such as the Vowel Driver. Omar resembles the stereotypical mad scientist. Omar has green skin, an exposed brain, red eyes, metal hands, and a lab coat. Commanders. Commanders are high-ranking positions who only answer to the top brass. Commander Cody from Star Wars is the most iconic with this rank in pop culture. Commanders lead a body of troops or military operations. Takinam is one, if not the one, of the few people Kayor trusts. She is Kayor's advisor, and Takinam has absolute loyalty to him. Takinam has, on multiple occasions, led armies, small and large, on Kayor's behalf. Two of the major ones was against the Marillions. Takinam appears as a gargoyle, similar to female gargoyles like Demona from the TV series Gargoyles. Agathos. Besides Takinam, Agathos is also Kayor's trusted advisor. Completely loyal to Kayor, Agathos is also responsible with rallying the underworld troops. Agathos has a knack with encouraging people and motivating them through seemingly impossible odds. Agathos resembles a typical Chinese dragon from Legend. But for me personally, Agathos reminds me of the Yu-Gi-Oh card Armored Lizard used by Joey Wheeler. I mean, every time I see him, I only see Armored Lizard. Scythia. Scythia is Lord von Blut's advisor and sworn enemy to Takinam. While Blut is away with business or out of the picture entirely, it is Scythia who holds down the fort until he returns. Scythia is very intelligent. In fact, she was smart enough to know not to trust the new tribe, the Marillions, but she followed her master's lead anyway. Scythia resembles a banshee from Irish folklore. Akuya. Akuya resembles a black dragon with yellow spikes. He's led many raids, mostly and preferably against the Danians. Akuya loves eating mandiblores. Danians even created horror stories for young hatchlings about Akuya to scare them straight. Warriors. Warriors are below the rank of commanders and have led armies as well, but they are often true warriors in the sense that they just don't send troops into battle, they're often in the thick of it as well. Atropole. Atropole is the leader of Blut's army and was the one who oversaw Blut's troops as they marched to the deep mines. Atropole is a hulking humanoid brute wearing red and gray armor. His breastplate has Blut's image and his massive helmet hides his face. Atropole resembles something like Spartans in ancient Greek history. Ixamayar. Ixamayar's appearance is a cross between a werewolf and a centaur. Ixamayar led an army against his brainwashed comrades during the Maurilian invasion. He viewed them as traitors, irregardless of the circumstances. Screeth. Screeth is a bizarre creature dwelling in Everrain. His lower body is a skeletal serpentine tail. Screeth is so quick he can move through any enemy lines, break up their formation, and attack from the rear. But he's at a disadvantage if he has to charge at a group head-on. I had a little trouble finding something resembling something to Screeth. The closest I got was Gashado Kuro yokai from Japanese folklore. The yokai is formed from the remains of fallen soldiers and famine victims. But if you have something better, leave a comment and let me know. Zar. Zar is one of the failed experiments created by Momark. Zar escaped to the underworld and took up residence in Fear Valley. Eventually, Zar started fighting for Kaor, and Zar, along with other Underworlders, took an army to fight against some Danians who tried to occupy Underworld territory. Zar resembles a dinosaur called an Ankylosaurus, right down to his tail, which is his primary weapon, just like the Ankylosaurus. Muges are the mages of Param. However, the Underworlders primarily are a tech-based tribe. They do have a handful of powerful muses. Kopan. Kopan is the high muse of the underworld. He's also the leader of a cult of underworld muses called the Pyrogenuists. I think maybe they're a group who worships the fire element. In the real world, they'll be labeled pyromaniacs. As possible, one of the reasons Kopan is so close to Serene, the serpent of fire. Ilazar. Ilazar is considered one of the most colorful underworlders. Ilazar has blue and red skin and purple armor. He has the musical ability to draw upon his opponent's musical energy whenever they defeat his underworld allies. Slifera. Also a pyrogenuist, Slifera has a strong connection with fire. His appearance is unnerving to some because of his protruding eyes and long, sharp teeth. Slifera was instrumental in betraying and disrupting the translation ceremony organized by Tarful in hopes of seizing power for the underworld tribe. But the coup failed, and Slifera and his underworld allies were driven away. Vile. Vile is a strong supporter of Blut. He has the ability to drain music. It stands to reason why he has the appearance of a vulture. Vultures are scavenger creatures that feed on dead animals. His name is a play on the word vile, meaning extremely unpleasant or wicked. Elementalists are creatures who've mastered one or more elemental skill in their arsenal, or are a part of a particular element. Magmon. Magmon is an underworlder who's a living mass of molten rock. Magmon lives in the lava pond and specializes in fire attacks. He derives his power from the lava pond, but that's also his weakness. If he strays away from the lava pond too long, he'll turn to ordinary stone by the cool air. Narfall. Narfall is a hooded gray creature whose eyes are always covered by his hood. He has a large mouth and 3 fingers and toes. Narfall is a mysterious creature even among Underworlders. However, Narfall is loyal to Kaor. Narfall has mastered the ability to use an opponent's elemental power against them. Serene, Servant of Fire. Serene is the Servant of Fire, thus is literally made of fire in the shape of a 4-armed dragon. Serene takes shared responsibility in looking after Kaisef, the City of Elements, with his brethren. If he's not spending time with high muses like Kopon, he's looking after the Phlogiston. Savista. Savista is an underworlder who spells bad omen whoever sees his flaming head. That'll inform them they will die soon. Savista is able to manipulate smoke and lightning to form wings. Savista resembles a harpy from Greek mythology. Ethereals are typically ghostly entities found in the underworld. Bareth Beyond. Bareth seems like an unique creature, but in actuality, he's a ghostly entity assembled from discarded battle gear. No one knows who made Bareth, probably not even Bareth himself. Bareth fits the image of a ghost possessing armor. Dracnus. Dracnus is a living shadow, his name being a play on the word darkness. Because he's able to manipulate his form, no one knows what Dracnus really looks like or where he might be lurking. Dracnus looks similar to the ghostly demons in the 1990 movie Ghost, a movie I reviewed last year around Halloween. Check it out when you get the chance. Ustable. Ustabe. Ustabe lives in Steam Pillar, another sentient armor but possessed by living steam. He was viable to Kaor during the Marillion invasion. Creel. Like Magmon, Creel lives in the lava pond and is a creature of molten rock, but birthed from a volcanic storm. The difference, however, Creel is more mindless than Magmon, which was a great asset for Kaor against the Marillions. Since they brainwash people, Creel lacks a brain, preventing mind manipulation. Taskmasters. The Taskmasters are the tech wizards / engineers of the underworld. They're invaluable because the underworlders rely a lot on technology, or they serve as guardians to locations in the underworld to keep out trespassers. Kaibon. Kaibon is the most well-known taskmaster in the underworld tribe. He's chief engineer for Kaor. Kaiban maintains and expands the underworld. Kaiban also invents and manufactures various types of battle gear. Kaiban appears as a bird humanoid. He kind of looks like an evil Big Bird from Sesame Street, in my opinion. Cougar. Cougar is charged with guarding Fear Valley when he's not on missions. Cougar resembles a green ogre like Shrek. Brimflame. Brimflame is the underworld's blacksmith. He's friends with Kaiban and often work together forging new weapons. Brimflame is based on Hephaestus from Greek mythology, who is god of artisans, blacksmiths, carpenters, craftsmen, fire, metallurgy, metalworking, sculptor, and volcanoes. Dardamus. Dardamus, who's also a green ogre being, guards the pits. The pits is an underworld prison, and Dardamus serves as its warden. Scouts. The scouts serve as spies / counterintelligence for their leader. Their ability to get in and out of places undetected and gather information is extremely useful. Hearing. Hearing is one of the best well-known scouts in the underworld. With Hearing's large ears, he resembles a humanoid rabbit with green skin. Hearing uses these ears to listen at great distances. Hearing is also useful with his network of connections. Doing favors or making friends, creatures can often freely give up info to Hearing. Creek. Creek serves as a flying scout for the underworld, another gargoyle figure with one eye. Creek is an opportunist, and depending on who he fears more at the time, he can be seen serving Blut or Kaor. Mishmomish. Mishmomish is a bizarre-looking underworlder. He's a mix of different creatures: right leg of a horse, left arm of a frog, and body, tail, right arm, and left leg of a chicken. Mishmomish also has very large teeth. Using his freakishly long legs, he gets around very quickly. Mishmomish is usually seen in the Forest of Life, in rivalry with Yakis, another bizarre creature. I just love this guy's name. It's just fun to say. Mishmomish, Mishmomish, Mishmomish. Nothalax. Nothalax is one of several aquatic underworlders. Nothalax is an excellent swimmer, and Kaor uses him to traverse the waterways to spy on overworlders. Since the overworlders are often by lakes, rivers, and oceans, they have remained vigilant against Nothalax. Nothalax's appearance is similar to the classic horror character Creature from the Black Lagoon. Past underworlders are depicted as either primordial beings or ancient ancestors of present-day creatures. The setting is a prehistoric or post-prehistoric period. Khal. Khal, to our knowledge, is the first underworld leader who is the only parent creature to spread his influence and rule in all of the underworld and most of overworld. He ruled like a dictator and enslaved many overworlders until he was disposed. Khal appears as a living lava creature. Kiru. Kiru is the ancestor to Kaor and first leader of the overworlders. Kiru was a good-natured, benevolent leader, but he won't hesitate to fight for his people. He founded the location for his people to settle that was named after him, Kiru Village, that would later grow into Kiru City. Forks. Forks is an ancient underworlder whose power could rival Khal's. Vorks is made up of boiling, bubbling water. Vorks isn't completely loyal to Khal, since he's living along the border between the overworld and the underworld. He made a deal with the Overworlders. He'll make sure no underworlder go past his domain to cross over, which would greatly limit the influx of underworlders. In exchange, the Overworlders pay in offerings. And Scoreblust. Scoreblust is an underworlder made up of hot tar and resembles Magmon in a lot of ways. Wherever a Scoreblust goes, he leaves bits of tar behind, making it easy to know his comings and goings. Beyond that, there's not much info about Scoreblust. And that is the history of the Underworlders. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite Underworlder location, battle gear, music? Leave it all below and let me know. If you have suggestions for future character lore videos, let me know. And yes, I've been hearing your comments because I know you guys been fiending for some more character lore videos. I am definitely working on it. This video just took a long time, and you know, I've been trying to get this done for a minute because it's got other stuff I had to get to. So it's been a lot going on. I've been meaning to get this out as soon as I get it done. I just wrapped it up, so I'm putting it out now. So moving forward, I hear you all. Y'all want more Danians and more Mepedian stuff, because yeah, you're right. I've been kind of putting a lot of emphasis on Underworlders and Overworlders as of late. So I will be taking some time in getting some Danian stuff, because I think, yeah, I have been lacking in Danian content. So I'll try to put some more Danian stuff on the list. So look forward to that in the coming weeks. And I will see you all later for more character lore videos. Take care and have a great weekend.